All right, Luca, welcome to the Love Procurement podcast. Really great to have you here today. My name is Vishal Patel. I'll be the host for this conversation. And yeah, as I mentioned, so today really glad to welcome Luca Sopranzetti. I think if I'm saying it right.
Close enough.
Sopranzetti. Luca is the Director of Sourcing and Procurement at Konica Minolta Business Solutions. So really exciting to have Luca here, and thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here, Vishal. Thank you very much, and thanks everybody who was listening to us today. So, as you say, this is Luca. I am the Director of Procurement Processes and Sourcing at Konica Minolta. I'm based in New Jersey, here in the US. I'm originally from Italy, as you can imagine. I've been in the US for about 15 years, 2010. So just for a background, I have a software automation, industrial engineering background education. So that's how my brain is wired. So I've been focusing really over the past 15 years on simplifying processes, improve efficiencies, and really trying to understand how that has an implication on the operational side of the business. And procurement has been, as I say, 15 years. It's been a love at first sight, I would say, after the business school in the US. And really, in the end, my background and being able to speak technology, understand technology, and boil down complex topics into simple concept for stakeholders, for my team, it's really been very helpful. As we all know, transformation can be overwhelming, as I say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me, if it makes sense.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. One maybe quick question for you is how did you get into procurement? Like, what was your first role in procurement?
Good question. So, as you know, coming from another country, right, especially years ago, key point was to find a job, right? You need a visa to stay in the US. And for me, I was like, I need a job. First that comes, I'm going to take. And luckily enough, I was uh, put, put in contact with Ralph Lauren, fashion company. They
Yeah.
were looking for a procurement analyst and operations as
Wow.
they were just started in 2010, so a lot of years ago, on a source to pay journey, right? At the time, it looked like something on a different planet and space. And for me, it was like, hey, we need somebody new, somebody who wants to learn something, that hasn't come out yet. So that was my first experience in procurement. I ended up
Okay.
leading the operations team in procurement after a couple of years, leading implementation. So perfect time, perfect place, and it's meant to be.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And now you're at Konica Minolta. So I read a little bit about Konica Minolta. I think everyone knows the name. But maybe what was interesting to me was one, how big Konica is. So it's a 40,000 employee person company headquartered in Japan, and 150 years old. Is that right?
Yeah, 150, 150
Right.
years old. Yep.
So pretty amazing. And interesting that I found was that Konica was the first to develop the SLR system for cameras. So that's making,
Cameras.
the big, huge change and huge leap in technology for consumer photography. So pretty amazing. So I guess Konica kind of has innovation and sort of that in its DNA in some ways, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's funny you mentioned the cameras because anybody I speak with, I say the name Konica Minolta, and they go, "Oh, Minolta, the cameras," and we're not in that business anymore any longer. Now our
Ah, right.
focus is printing solutions, really, both from office, corporate, and big industrial equipment to print labeling, embellishment, and things like that. Right, that's our main focus. Also, as you say, innovation is a key part of what we do, right? We are in the medical devices sector for some interesting things. We also have kind of IT digital transformation services that we
Mm.
offer for document ingestion, for example, a little bit flavor with AI on small to medium-sized businesses, like companies who do not have companies do not have an IT team internally, for example, right? They use Konica Minolta as the provider of IT services, so we provide a variety of services, and this came as an innovation, right? We try to diversify our business, go to untapped markets, so yeah, and that's how we are here after 150 years.
Yeah, yeah, amazing journey. So now, as you kind of landed at Konica Minolta within procurement, what was the situation you walked into? Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we are actually, I don't know if it makes sense to actually give a brief of where we are and where we're here. So we are actually 1 week away from major go live of our source to pay digital transformation. And that really started when I joined Konica Minolta, right? As you say, 150 years old. So as you can imagine, a lot of manual processes, right? So a lot of opportunities for improvement. In procurement specifically, we when I joined, we were still known and still to this day, not for long, known as the purchasing department, right? The good
Okay.
old purchasing department. So I walked in and I said, you know what, it's time to change this, right? Then at the same time, our CEO, our board is pushing for a strategic pillar that is what we call, we want to be the easiest company to do business with. Okay? And that applies to three flavors. One is our customers, of course. Number two is our internal employees. And number three is our suppliers. Two of those three, right, meaning internal users and suppliers, that's really something that procurement can help the company becoming simple and easy to work with. So there was a perfect opportunity, let's say, and I was able internally with my team to really sell a vision to upstairs C-level suite, right? Oh, sorry, I lost my headphone.
That's okay.
Apologies. On why we need to change, right? How do we become a strategic partner to the company and not just a buying organization any longer? So that's really what I found, right? A lot of opportunities. So,
And was there an existing technology already being used? Is there existing things you were trying to replace
yeah.
already?
So when I walked in, I found a provider of source to pay of 10 years. Okay, so I was deployed for 10 years. I actually come from that background on my past.
Mm-hmm.
And I really saw right away, well, this is way not modern, right? So the company made a deployment years ago. Unfortunately, as a team, right, as a people who were supporting the procurement platform, procurement process, there was not anybody who was actually driving it, right? Innovation and continuous improvement, right? So that's what I found. So there was legacy technology, disconnected system, disconnected processes. And so that's how we went in. We went all in with the idea, let's start fresh. Let's
Yeah.
pretend we don't have anything in place today.
Okay. And then I guess you took a specific kind of path in your transformation, and maybe it's going to be, you're going to take that journey as you go. As you mentioned, you're going live in 1 week, and that's maybe part one of the journey. But maybe just talk a little bit about what does that look like for you? Like, what did you choose to start with?
Yep.
What's the long-term plan? If you can share a little bit of that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So as I say, a lot of manual processes. So it's not really worth it to digitize inefficiencies. That's the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
So I actually started this project internally with a bold statement to my project team. Was like the the as is does not exist. We don't have requirements, right? It's a little bold,
Okay.
right? It was a way to challenge people thinking about what you do today doesn't mean that's what you're going to do tomorrow, right? So really, that allow me to push internally to look at the fundamentals, right? Hey, what do we really need, right?
Mhm.
Why are we doing, sorry, why are we doing certain things in all the areas? So from a scope point of view, we are going live and we started with supplier management, contract management, and P2P, so procurement
Mhm.
invoicing. That's basically what we add with the previous technology stack that we had, but they were silos, right? So they were not connected or disconnected. So we started from the
Mhm.
same scope, and really we started designing processes from scratch. As something I want to mention, it's not really looking at best practices, right? That's what people usually say. It's more like what's cool and new out there, right? As you know, procurement moves very fast, at least in my point of view, right? Best practices don't mean much, especially if you are in different industries, right? Customers
Yeah.
are different sizes, procurement, different people, different talent. Then best practice, it's very hard to take and apply, right? It's really staying educated and using partners, right? Consulting companies to try to keep you honest, right? Hey,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this. Is this the right thing to do for a company like us, right? So that's how we started, and that's where we are today. Yep.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
I like to
you
say,
asked question about. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I like to think not like to, but I kind of compare best practice to almost at some level, if everyone applies best practice, then everyone is the same.
That's right. Then
And
you're all the same.
in a lot of ways, if you try to apply best practice, you're maybe not doing things that are unique for your business,
Right.
right? And that's yeah, it can be a challenging a challenging thing to balance, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't take into consideration the nuances, right? At the end of the day, even in the same industry, a lot of processes could be similar, but then the day-to-day, right, the volume of certain things, and as I said before, the people, right, the talent that you have, that's what it takes processes in different ways. So that's
Yeah.
that's why we decided to take this approach, and the key enabler was the leadership being on board with. We gotta, to receive yes, do it, right?
Yeah.
The level and
And what's maybe if I can ask, like from a procurement standpoint, what is I find this question to be interesting always is that, when you think about your suppliers, what's the kind of role the supplier community plays in procurement, right? Like, were you looking at this from as you said, easiest company to do business with? So obviously you are thinking about that.
yeah.
And that's interesting because I don't think that's common either. No, not many people are thinking of, oh, I need to invest in my procurement process in order to make it easy, not only for my users, but for my suppliers. And I think that that's a unique kind of approach. But
Yeah, that
how
was
did you kind of come to that as well? Yeah.
yeah, that was actually a key factor on our sourcing exercise that we ran, right? Through either upgrade or replace our technology, right?
Hmm.
Really, the ease of use for supplier was heavily weighted in terms of rating at the end when we made
Okay,
the
good.
recommendation to the board. Really, because we based on what's experienced today for our suppliers, right? How easy it is to actually send us an invoice and get paid. It's as simple as
Mhm.
that, right? And that side of the business reporting to me as well. Okay, so that's my team responsible for vendor management. And I'll be honest, it was very hard. If you're a supplier today, it's a lot of paperwork. It's not hard, it's just a lot of paperwork on a Word document, right? We required some signatures on a Word document, and you need to attach a lot of backup documentation because reasons that were in place, right? And then sending us invoices is not as simple as doing a PO flip through a supplier portal, right? A lot of
Mhm.
paper, a lot of manual keying in from our accounts payable team, so a lot of overhead to process an invoice of $25 cost me 150 to process, well, then it's direct impact to
Yeah.
the business, right? That's really why we look at that, and that's what we chosen as part of our go forward. It's something that it makes it easy for suppliers, and
Okay.
yeah, have full confidence that's going to be
And-
a key factor
Yeah.
on our success for sure.
And you mentioned things are moving fast in procurement. I would agree with you. Being on the technology side, right? Obviously, AI is a big theme. It's kind of core to the future of procurement. But you also mentioned talent. So in terms of like your view of the future, how do you think AI will impact how you invest in procurement talent? Is that something you can comment on? Yeah.
Yeah, I can comment on. I would say, being honest, it's not something Konica Minolta and my team is ready for. Right?
Mm.
I looked at it, right, and trying to keep myself educated because I think in this time everybody's talking about AI, right, and there's a lot of unknown. Of course, so keeping yourself educated, I think, is the key, right? Seeing what's new, what's out there, what's in what's trend. For procurement, I think as the common view, right, that people are afraid, they fear that it's going to replace jobs, right?
Mm.
From procurement, we are, it's a people job, right? We need human skills in procurement to
Yeah.
talk to the business users, right? We need critical thinking, we need business acumen, we need business communication to be top notch, right? So for procurement specifically, I don't think AI will replace jobs. I think it's just a matter of what skill set is going to amplify, right?
Yeah.
How can we enable people to be more transformational, right, and more a challenger to other people in the company and help them think differently than today, being focused on a transaction, right? Hey,
Yeah.
I have a sourcing event to run. I'm going to help you. Well, the idea in the future is AI should, at least in my mind, should do all the hard work behind the scenes, right? Putting together an RFP, putting together the questions,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The stuff that is time consuming, that goes away. AI can help you. Then you can really work with the business to turn to think, hey, this is how we should look at this, right? Or
Yeah.
going forward. The opportunities X, Y, Z. Let me help you. So that's also what I've been sharing with my team as they've been asking, hey, should be worried, right? Is
Right.
what's happening?
Yeah.
My yeah,
It's
advice
pretty
is
aligned. Yeah,
sorry,
it's
go ahead.
pretty aligned to like how I and we at Ivalua think, right? So one, we did a lot of thinking about AI's impact on procurement and AI's impact on the roles, and obviously we are selling software to procurement users, right? And
Yeah,
business users. But at the end of the day, we thought very much like you that procurement is about relationships. It's about relationships with stakeholders, with suppliers, and actually, what maybe has happened is like all the process efficiency, automation, digitization has maybe taken procurement a little bit away from focusing on relationships because there's so much stuff to do with like creating RFPs and follow-ups and analytics and approving stuff and so much stuff that
data,
bogs
right?
you down, you know.
Yeah,
And now with AI you can actually have all AI do all of that stuff, all the digital stuff. Actually, a lot of AI agents can take over, and it does change what people do, right? So you go from managing and communicating about supplier information and updating that to you change from doing that to becoming more of a relationship manager, right? You can
yeah.
go from
Talk to the
the
supplier. So you actually
yeah,
talk to
you
the
go
supplier.
talk to the
Right?
supplier, yeah.
Yeah,
And you can go from being the person that is putting together an RFX to the one that's actually managing the spend more so than the process of
right.
RFX, right? So it changes a lot of what people can do. And then the last example I give is I think a lot of time is maybe spent on creating reports and doing analysis and stuff like that. So you shift from creating a report to actually maybe asking more questions about the data, right?
Validated.
And getting
Yeah,
more insights. And I think
I have
that's
actually
going to be a core shift. Yeah.
I have a comment on this. As I said, I keep myself educated, right? And as you can imagine, I get a lot of LinkedIn messages and cold calls on this stuff, right? I
Yeah.
actually picked up some, right? I picked up some calls because I wanted to know, hey, what's out there, right? And so it's shifting. And another example, there's no sourcing event, but like a contract renewal, right? Contract renewal, there's a lot of time you need to figure out the data. Maybe there is paperwork that is like 10 years old, and you have a long list of pricing, right? You're trying to understand the history. What I've seen from one of these startups out there, right? They show to me it's a contract renewal agent, right? It comes in, it takes all the emails, all the data, stakeholder names, right? Is able to schedule meetings internally, externally, taking notes, so that the procurement person and the business owner can actually talk, right? And decide, hey, how do we want to move forward, right? What's the strategy? As you said before,
Yeah.
like a sourcing event, procurement spend so much time on actually preparing for it, and then there's no time to actually
Yeah. To do
thinking
the
about stuff.
strategy part. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So lots of things changing. What would be, I guess, your view of your team, the procurement organization as a whole? And maybe this is you're on your journey right now to transform with the technology. Um, where do you see the team maybe like more like 5 years from now?
Yeah.
You know.
I think so. Coming from today, where we have no data, right? Or at least it's very hard, let's say, to have data at your fingertip. I think my team, a team like mine, is going to take some time, right, to adjust. Hey, I have all this data available now. How can I use it? As you said before. So I think there's gonna in 5 years, if I had to take my team, I see a mix, right? I would say if you ask me today, hey, are you ready to hire an agent tomorrow? Yeah, probably not, right? It's gonna take time, and because data is what the agent is going to need to run, right? So it's gonna take time to build up a, a data like lake almost, right? For the agent to be trained and be onboarded. I will say, yeah, in 5 years, there's going to be a good mix, right, of strategic people, right, who have experience in procurement and that really use AI agents as a team member, right? It's not like so we use the chat today, right? They chat with me, they chat with other more senior people in the company. They would just chat with the AI agent like it's a team member, right? It's just a different way to look at the agent versus an employee in terms of, of course, internal costs, right? And
Yeah.
there's no need for a head count. It's just an expense, but maybe that will change too, right? Who knows, right? So that's just my vision. I think all this stuff that we're hearing right now, and you mentioned before, is going to be real. It's going to be real for sure. And some companies
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they need to be a little more, if the company is ready to jump on some of these, that's also the way the companies like us can learn, right? Real example, and not just a sales play from a company, right?
Right.
From a startup. It's like if a real company shares a real story with real results, right? A real lesson learned, then I think a lot of companies might be less afraid to try something.
Yeah, and I definitely think you'll start seeing that next year. I mean, we are seeing it from our customer base. We have now, I would say dozens of customers piloting, experimenting, deploying. Many have gone live in production and are actually beyond the pilot user group phase and are rolling out to hundreds of users. So it definitely is moving fast. But again, I agree with you. It depends on the company, where you are in the journey, where you are in the process, if you're ready for it yet, right? It may not make sense for everybody just yet. But yeah, no, this has been a really good conversation, Luca. Maybe just end by, we always ask this question. It's called the Love Procurement podcast.
Yeah.
You shared a little bit of like it was kind of love at first sight for you, but like why do you still love procurement?
I think it goes the same reason how I fell in love the first time, right? As I say, it was 2010. Like source to pay was not even a concept, maybe 15 years ago, uh, at least for me, right? Coming from another country, coming from not from that background. It was like, so to me, it was a no-brainer. When my first company told me we're doing this, right? We're trying to get Supplier to send us non-manual invoices, right?
Mm-hmm.
My first reaction was, you, people don't do that, right? I didn't know. So it was such a common sense, right? And then they open up the can, right? Oh wow, there's so much opportunity. So I still love it because I think it's the same, right? The
Yeah.
same applies, as you say. AI maybe is the next new. Like in 5 years, maybe we'll say, yeah, of course, everybody's doing it right now, right? I think it's just, sorry again. I think it's just the opportunities are untapped and it's changing every day. And to me, it's just a very exciting place to be, for sure.
Yeah. No, excellent, excellent, excellent. And maybe we can have you back on once you're further in your journey to learn more and
I would love to.
see kind of what value you got out of it. But thank you so much, Luca. It was great
Thank you.
having you,
My
and
pleasure.
have a good day.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, take care.